Hey everyone, in this video we will explore how multi-agent system works with Google ADK, and then we will build our own AI assistant that can help to plan our travels using Google Flights and hotels data. This AI assistant will also be able to summarize the latest news for us. We will build a team of specialized agents who will work together seamlessly to achieve certain tasks. If you are new to Google ADK, then I suggest you watch my previous video where I have explained how you can build and deploy your first agent. So let's get started. In Google ADK, an agent is essentially an AI component powered by LLM and tools with a clear assigned role. It can understand requests, process information, and perform certain actions. But a single agent cannot always do everything. That's where multi-agent system comes in. In multi-agent system, users interact with root agent, then root agent can have multiple sub-agents, also called child agents. And those sub-agents can also have more sub-agents. This becomes like a tree structure or a hierarchy of parent and child relations. In Google ADK, there are two ways child agents can be integrated with parent agents. One is using sub-agent. Here, let's suppose the user submits the query and the parent agent decides that this query needs a child agent. Then the complete responsibility of responding back to the user is taken up by the child agent. The parent agent is not involved at all. The child agent will directly respond back to the user. This is like transferring the entire request to the child agent. And further communication will still happen with the child agent only. The second way to add a child agent is to use it as an agent tool. Here, the responsibility to respond to the user is still with the parent agent. The parent agent will use a child agent like a tool or a function call. The parent agent will invoke or run the child agent, get the response back, and process it further if required, and then respond back to the user. So the user is still communicating with the parent agent. And the parent agent is still responsible to answer back to the user. So the first method is used to create a delegation network, where a request is assigned to the correct agent to respond to the user. And the second method is where a child agent is invoked just to perform a certain task, but the user will still communicate with the parent agent only. Think of it like a company. In our company, we have a CEO, a manager, and a team of experts. A client is like a user. Clients submit the request to CEO. The CEO directs this request to a manager. This is the transfer of responsibility. The manager is supposed to respond back to the client, and the manager is using other team members to complete certain tasks and then respond back to the client. In this example, the CEO is like a root agent. The manager is our sub-agent, and the team of experts is used like an agent as a tool. Both of these approaches allows us to build complex AI assistants. Alright, let's put this into action. We are going to create a multi-agent system with two main capabilities. First, a new summariser agent, which will be using SERP API to gather news and summarize it for us. Second, a trip planner agent, which helps with vacation planning by collaborating with flight agent and hotels agent. Our root agent will decide based on the user's request and delegate the request to the correct sub-agent. Then the sub-agent will respond to the user. Trip planner agent is integrated with hotels and flight agent as a tools. So a trip planner agent will use these as tools and respond back to the user. Let's look at the code now. As a prerequisite, you must have Python installed on your local. You should have a GCP project. where billing should be enabled. You should have Vertex AI API should also be enabled for this particular project. So this is required to authenticate our API calls to Gemini LLM. We can also use AI Studio, but I prefer Vertex AI platform. Then you should have the gcloud CLI configured on your local, and you should have authenticated through gcloud, through gcloud auth login command. And then we are going to use SERP API to fetch the latest data. So that's why you should have a SERP API account and its API key. I have already put down this code in a Git repository. I have shared the Git repository URL in the video description. You can clone this repository and come down to this folder, ADK2 Travel Planner Agent. I'm already at this folder. So here we have this .env file that is basically virtual environment file, so you don't have to worry about that. You can create the virtual environment using these two commands and activate it. And then we have this requirements.txt file where we have the Google ADK, which is the Google ADK library. Python.env is just to load the .env file, and Google search results. So this is the package which is going to call the SERP API and get the results. And then we have env.example. You can copy this as .env and replace the values with your Google Cloud project location, which is basically the region, and provide your SERP API key here inside your .env file. And we have this travel planner agent folder, which is the main folder which contains the source code of our agent. Inside this, I have put down two further folders to segregate the code. So we have subagents folder, which contains all the subagents. And then we have tools. And then this is our main file agent.py, which contains the definition of our root agent. So here we are just importing from Google ADK, this LLM agent. And these two import statements are basically coming from subagents folder. And then we are importing news agent and trip planner agent. So these two agents will be integrated with our root agent using the subagents key. Inside subagents, we can provide a list. And here I have provided these two subagents, trip planner agents and news agent. So these two agents will be added with root agent as subagents. And definitely you have to provide the instructions and description. Instructions and description should be as clear as possible. And we should also iterate our instructions to improve the performance based on the LLM behavior. And we have also provided this model. So Gemini 2.0 Flash is the model that we are going to use. And the name we have provided as AI Assistant. Now let's look into the news agent, which is basically coming from subagents. Inside subagents, we have this news agent.py. And this contains the definition of news agent. So this is again LLM agent is coming from Google ADK, and it is using search news tools, which is from the tools folder. And it is nothing but an LLM agent with a tool that is search news. So this search news tool is basically a Python function which is going to authenticate to SERP API and get the latest news based on the provided key or the topic. So if we look into this tools folder, we have this SERP API.py, which contains the main function, which is calling Google search or SERP API. So here we have from SERP API, we are importing Google search function, and Google search is taking the parameters which is coming as input. And it is also adding API key, which is SERP API key coming from environment variables for authentication, and it will respond as a dictionary. Now this run search function will be called by all of these tools, news.py as well as hotels and flights, of course with different parameters. So search news is a function which is taking search query, which is nothing but an str. It can be a topic or anything that you want to search in the Google News. And this is the parameters. We have to provide engine as Google News, and Q is basically the query, which is the search query, and it is calling the run search function with these two parameters. And then it will return the search results, which will be the dictionary. So this function search news has been integrated as tools for this particular news agent. Now comes the trip planner agent. Trip planner agent is again an LLM agent, which is calling Gemini 2.0 Flash. The name is trip planner agent. Description and instructions are provided specific for the trip planner agent. And here you can see there are tools. There are two tools, flight agent tool and hotel agent tool. So this is getting defined above, flight agent tool and hotel agent tool. And you can see we have these two import statements from subagents, flight agents. We are importing flight agent and hotels agent. And we are converting this agent as a tool from here. Agent tool, which is coming from Google ADK dot agent tool. And then we provide what agent we want to convert as a tool. And this gets converted as flight agent tool, similarly a hotels agent tool. And these two agents are added as tools for trip planner agent. So this is the integration where agents are getting added as tools for the parent agent. And if you look into these two agents, flights and hotels, it follows the similar structure as news agent. So hotel agents has its own instructions here. It is also an LLM agent. The name is hotel agent. Description, instructions, and tool is the search hotels, which is coming from tools folder. We have search hotels.py, which is calling the run search function again to authenticate to SERP API and call with these particular parameters. Here the engine is going to be Google Hotels, and these parameters are defined as per the requirement of the Google Hotels SERP API, which is the query which contains the location, and then we have the check-in date, check-out date, how many number of adults, how many number of rooms are required, which currency you want in the output, and if there is any sorting you require in the output. These parameters will be passed to run search function, and we will get from Google APIs or SERP API, we will get the results. So this function has been added as a tool for the hotels agent, and this expect a structured input which we defined using Pydantic model. So this is the hotel request, and all these arguments are added here in this model, and we have provided the description as clear as possible. So LLM is aware that this particular tool expect the input in this particular format for each argument that is being passed to this function. So in the similar fashion, we have also defined the flights tool. So we have search flights, which takes flight request as input. And this flight request is the data model, which is defined using Pydantic. And it contains arguments as origin, destination. These are basically the airport codes. Then what is the outbound date? What is the return date? How many number of adults and currency? And here the engine is Google Flights. These parameters are needed to call SERP API. And then this search results will be returned back to our flight agent. And if you look into flight agent.py, it is again an LLM agent. The only difference is tools is search flights. And in hotel agent, we have tools as search hotels. Once these two agents are defined, this trip planner agent are converting this agent as tools, and these two tools or agents are added as tools for the parent agent, which is our trip planner agent. Then again, these two, trip planner agent and news agent, are added in our root agent as subagents. So this complete our structure of the agent and the entire code base. Now let's run this agent. Go to terminal and activate the virtual environment if it is not done so. For me, it is already activated, but I'll just run again. And then installed all the requirements. And make sure your .env file is set up already. And all you have to do is run ADK Web. So our ADK Web has started. We can access from this URL. Just copy this URL and open in Chrome browser. In ADK Web, we can access and debug our agent. So you can see I'm connected with the travel planner agent here. So let's start with just hello. So it responded, how can I help you today? I can help you search and summarize news or plan trips. I'll ask maybe, let's see what is in the news today about AI and technology. So it will call a transfer agent function and the request will be transferred to the news agent. And the news agent is calling the search news tool, which will respond back to the search news agent with the information. So to see this in action, we can see inside events. So we can see this entire structure of our multi-agent system. We have here AI assistant. This is the news agent and trip planner agent. And news agent has search news tool, whereas trip planner agent has hotels agent and flight agents integrated into it. We can see the events flow. So the AI assistant transferred the responsibility to news agent using the transfer agent function, and the news agent used the search news tool, and then search news responded back to the agent, and then agent responded back to us with this information. Now let's plan a trip to Delhi from Mumbai on 29th September 2025. Now let's see what happens. So again, transfer to agent function is called. And the request is transferred to trip planner agent. Now trip planner agent is asking us, I can help you plan a trip. Do you have any preferences for budget, accommodation, or other preferences? All right. Suggest me some lower budget hotels. All right. It is asking us the checkout date. So we will be staying for a week in Delhi. Week and how many adults? Okay, it is asking for more questions. So me alone is traveling, one room only. So it is asking all those questions to clarify the doubts, definitely. All right, finally, it gives us the hotel options And I think flight option is missing. Suggest some flights as well. Then it will call the flight agent. And it actually gives us the flights, and the airline is Indigo, and this is the flight number. So this is good. If we look into the events, we can see that it called the hotel agents, and there was some back and forth communication with hotel agent, and then finally from flight agent. So this is the power of multi-agent system. Instead of one huge AI trying to do everything, we have specialists collaborating smoothly. And our assistant can grow when we integrate more child agents into it. So today we saw how to use Google ADK to build a multi-agent system. Multi-agent systems are the future of AI assistants, and ADK makes it very easy to build this. In the next videos, we will cover other kinds of agents, such as workflow agents and custom agents. Then we will also look at how we can integrate this with A2A protocol and MCP tools. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much.